Dude, the camera here is so tight. Little claps.
Little claps. You can't do the big thing, right? I'd be like,
I know.
I look like
You would
Pac-Man.
be hitting me.
But
All right. Well, anyways, welcome to Indiana Success Happy Hour Real Estate Edition.
And I do think it's the Indiana Real Estate Edition.
Agreed. Brian Quinlan here from Daniel's Real Estate.
Brad Nickham from Tasting Tequila with Brad.
And
love it.
I mean, this is a real estate edition.
Nest Mortgage Group too. Yeah, that's my real job. That's my real job.
So speaking of T-Rex arms, that goes along with my beer today, Brad.
It does.
Old man Brian's going to put on his glasses so I can read this.
But you have to talk like this.
Nah, it's not even the right glasses, but we'll go with it anyways. All right, so this is Summer Sue Citrus Ale, which has Sue, the T-Rex, from the Field Museum. And this says Toppling Goliath Brewing Company.
Yeah.
Brewing up history with the Field Museum.
Right.
And it's a beer company out of Iowa. Odd connection, but either way, this is a citrus ale, and it is definitely very strong citrus smell.
I can smell the orange.
There it is,
Yeah.
and a pretty significant citrus flavor. I don't know if it's orange. I want to say it might be a mixture of some different citruses. But
well, I smelled orange. If
okay.
you had put that in a glass so you could really nose it, you'd probably be able to smell more.
Not today. We're just going to drink it right out of the can. So,
you like it out of the can, don't you?
No, I'll drink it right here.
Why did the T-Rex die?
Why, Brad?
I don't know. That's why I asked you. I didn't have an answer.
Damn, I thought this was a joke setup.
Well, it did have something to do with his arms.
And you're drinking tequila, which there's like nothing in the glass.
Oh, I got to pour this. So,
All right.
Evolution 1250. This tequila is made out of Nam 1522 in Amatatan, Mexico, which is really the place where tequila started. It didn't actually start in the town of Tequila. It started in the Matatan Valley, in the town of Matatan. And this tequila is owned by Todd Hummel, who's a Canadian.
Eh?
A super nice guy, if you can imagine.
Good guy, eh?
And master distiller Ileana Partida.
We know Ileana.
And what he wanted to do with the name of this tequila was he wanted to pay homage back to the distillery. And the distillery is located 1,250 meters above sea level.
Well, that's nifty.
Elevation 1250. So,
cool.
Great tequila. I just did an interview with Todd a week ago or so. It'll be coming out in a couple of weeks on Tasting Tequila with Brad. He kind of shares everything.
Well, cheers to you, my friend, and to you all out there. Brad, have you ever served on jury duty?
No.
Don't say it.
They asked me to leave.
Okay. Well, I had my first jury duty experience this week.
Did you say something to make sure you were able to leave?
No, I said I had my first jury duty. I've been called for jury duty before, but never actually made it into a courtroom. This time, not only did I make it into the courtroom, I was juror number 5. Had to stay for the entire trial. It was a criminal trial.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was a long day. You're supposed to report to the
$9?
courthouse. 80 is what I'm going to get. You get to the courthouse at 8 a.m., finally get into the courtroom at 10. Then it was 2 hours worth of picking the jury down to 14 people. We started with about 44, I think.
And what is that process called?
Ooh, voir dire?
Voir dire.
Yeah, there we go.
Move the glasses.
Okay. Can't see anyway. And so, yeah.
Then voir dire is a French term.
Okay. They did explain.
French for picking a jury.
I don't believe that's correct, but either way, so we finally picked the jury and then dismissed for lunch, came back, had the whole trial. They said the trial was going to be done in one day. And when they told us at the beginning what it was about, I'm kind of thinking, how the hell is this going to be one day? Well, it was.
What was it about?
And essentially, it was a gentleman who was being accused of some kidnapping, confinement. There was a deadly weapon involved.
Seems like you threw the word gentleman around loosely.
Yeah.
I would have said
anyways,
thug. Unless he was found innocent.
He was not.
Thug.
No, he was not. So anyway, we actually got out of there like 7 p.m. So long day. And it was interesting. As much as I won't say that I loved the experience, it was interesting. The thought is, was it worth $80? Probably not. But, Now I'm off jury duty for, I think it's 2 or 2.5 years before they can call you again, because now I've been on a jury.
Yeah,
So,
I've been called.
you just don't go.
No,
them.
you show up and then you say things like, "I don't trust government."
There you go.
Right.
There was one guy who was dismissed from the jury because on his form that you fill out, he put that he worked nights. And so the judge said, "Sir, it says here you work nights. So have you been to bed today?" And he goes, "I've had an hour and a half sleep." She says, "Well, this is going to be a long day and we're going to expect you to stay awake. Are you going to have to work later today?" He's like, no, I'm not going to have to work later, because essentially his jury duty got him out of having to work later at night. But she knew that only being an hour and a half sleep and needed him to stay awake, they dismissed him.
That's actually one of the ways to get out of jury duty.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Another way is I have a large family that depends on me earning money, and I'm a straight commission person that missing a whole day of work today would cost my family the ability to eat.
Well, that's I could see that as being logical, legit. All right.
There's some other ways too, but I won't say.
We're not going to go into that. Before we got started, we were kind of brainstorming what we were going to talk about on the episode today. And you mentioned that there are some changes either coming or already in place having to do with credit scores and how those.
So there's some things coming. So FHFA.
Okay.
Right. And not the people that are over soccer.
That's FIFA. So you're close.
Close. Just one letter off, if I'm not mistaken in the alphabet.
Correct. And if you have the silent H, it'd be FIFA.
So that's an organization that I really don't know what they do. So if I try to explain to you who they are or what those letters stand for, I would just
look it up. It's what Google was invented
making
for.
Stuff up. And even though if you say the wrong thing confidently, most people believe it. I'm not going to try, but they have made a change that's going to affect Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and it is one that, to explain, a lot of people don't realize you don't just have 3 credit scores.
Nope.
You have 9 credit scores at each credit bureau. Each one's called something different, and one of the credit scores is called a Vantage 4 score versus a FICO score. And this Vantage 4 score is going to allow people to have their utilities and their rent recorded. And that is going to help build their credit score and allow them to utilize those clean payments to help them qualify for a home, to help more first-time home buyers.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how you get it to report, right? Like if you rent from your cousin.
Yeah.
Your cousin's going to have to go through the process of finding out how to report that rent. But today, there are times when I pull people's credit that maybe they rent from Edward Rose. That's a big apartment complex. Their rent payments always show up on credit, right? So it's been a system that's been happening for a long time, but now they're going to add utilities to that, which, keep in mind, can be a negative if you pay your utilities late, right? So right now, if you pay your utilities late, I don't know about it unless it becomes a collection. Then it's an issue. But so that's the thing that's going to help people's credit score. Last year, 2024, we've seen the highest age of first-time home buyers ever is age 38 years old. And we also had the least amount of first-time home buyers purchase a home in 2024, which was like right at 1 million. And I think it was 1 million less than normal.
Wow.
So it talks about
astounding
affordability, right? And how hard it is for people to purchase today. And these are just some, programs that are supposed to help those first-time home buyers build that credit. And one thing that I'm seeing that's very encouraging, that's different than maybe the millennials that us Gen Xers created and then make fun of, is the Zers are ready to get things going faster. I have a 22-year-old, I think 2 22-year-olds right now pre-approved to purchase a home. And today I had one call me that they've had their jobs for a year, and last year they were in high school.
Dang.
And they're ready to buy. And, so there's a couple rules. One, you have to have 2-year work history. Or if you did take a trade school class, right? You went to vocational school instead of AP math, and you learned body work at a
mechanics.
Some kind of mechanical thing or body repair for a collision repair facility. And you took that in school, and then you got a job in that. Now that training counts.
Okay.
And you don't have to have a full 2-year work history. Or
very nice.
Say you went to beauty school dropout.
Yeah.
And then you became a beautician, right? So that works. Because college works for people. If you did, 4 years of college or 2 years of college and you went to work in that field, then I can count that college as part of your work. So the Gen Zers are jumping in way faster. And I think we're going to see a generation of people that we're going to see that first-time homebuyer number start to come down.
Yeah, it seems that way.
And they're also jumping in with jobs that aren't requiring a lot of school. So they're not coming in with a lot of student loan debt. That's also very prohibitive for people.
Oh, for sure.
To afford homes today in today's prices.
That's cool. Well, as a parent of a 25 and a 21-year-old, that's encouraging to hear because neither of them own a house.
They're Gen Zers, right?
Yes. And Alex might be a millennial, but either way, born in 2000. So somewhere in that
We'd have
range.
to ask Siri.
Either way.
And she's on sleep mode.
Correct. Either way, she doesn't have, she does have a credit card now, but it took her a while to get one. And she has been renting for a few years on her own. We've never co-signed for her to rent anything. So, that credit history of her paying her rent on time for the last 2 or 3 years could go a long way in helping her get into a house.
Yeah, and if you have kids that are in school today, seniors in high school, I would suggest if you are a person that has good credit, if you're a parent that has bad credit, I don't suggest you do this. But if you're a parent with good credit, take one of your credit cards or 2 of your credit cards and add your child as an authorized user.
We did that.
And that adds your credit onto their credit scores. Now, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, FHA, they've made some changes over the last couple of years. Used to, if that popped your credit score up and you got an accept, a DU accept or LP accept, you bought a house. But now they're wise enough to go, oh, it looks like all the credit is authorized user account. So please remove the authorized user account and rescore it without the authorized user account. So you use the authorized user account to help them get a credit score so they can go get their own credit cards. And
Gotcha.
I know I just heard Dave Ramsey cry out loud because I said that.
I'm sure he did.
And
he might have unsubscribed.
You can do it the Dave Ramsey way. I think a lot of things that he teaches is great, but being a credit ghost is going to cost you more money in a lot of areas because your insurance cost is based on your credit score. Your health insurance looks at your credit score. Utilities look at your credit score. So if you don't develop a credit score, you're just going to pay more in all of those other areas, but maybe you didn't use interest.
And not only paying more, it just gets harder to get approved for things.
Absolutely. And those things end up costing more, higher rates or higher fees because you don't, or deposits, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not a proponent of creating usage of credit cards and carrying interest. If you do that, you're just wasting money. So
Correct.
Use the card, pay it off. And have the parent add the child as an authorized user to drive that score up, to get those credit cards and teach them responsible use of those cards. And now you're going to create a credit history. So when you're ready to buy a house as a 23-year-old or a 22-year-old, you don't need 20% down to buy a house. You only need 3% down on a conventional loan. You only need 3.5% down on an FHA loan. And now you can buy that house today. And I know everybody's raising their hand going, what about the PMI? Well, PMI is tax deductible, just like your interest. So in the case of, okay, you got an interest rate of today of 6.5 and your PMI is 1/4. So you're at 6 3/4 and you get to write off whatever percentage your income is, whatever bracket you're in, which thankfully all of those brackets just went down a little bit. We're all going to pay a little bit less no matter which bracket you fall into.
Okay.
And that's a good thing for people.
You mentioned interest rates.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are the recording of this is July 10th.
They could be worse by the time it comes out.
You just, no idea. But as of today, rates have been getting a little bit better.
Yeah, you're looking at, I think the average Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac rate was 6.77 with a half. That means you paid a half of a point to get that. So take that point away, you're sitting at 6.99. So we're now creeping underneath that 7% rate.
That's nice.
And I know everybody right now is just really excited that they think, the Fed is going to lower the Fed fund rate, or most likely whoever the, Chair Powell's replacement is going to lower the Fed fund rate. And everybody's waiting for that. They're really excited about that. And that is a great thing for lots of interest rates. It's a great thing if you have an adjustable rate mortgage. It's a great thing if you have a home equity line of credit, or if you're carrying credit card debt, or if you've got a car loan, or if you're the United States and have $3 trillion in debt. Those are great things for the Fed fund rate to come down. But remember, interest rates are still not as low as they were a year ago, August, before Fed Chair Powell lowered the Fed fund rate a full half. Interest rates have been higher ever since he did that. And there's a reason why. Whenever you're going to stimulate economic growth can spur some sorts or some types of inflation. That inflation causes the treasury bills to stay higher, which interest rates are based off of bond rates, not based off of the Fed fund rate. So we don't really care if the Fed lowers rates. It's not going to help.
It makes national news, and maybe it makes people feel better. However, not connected directly to mortgage rates.
A 30-year fixed rate.
Yeah.
For all the people that have adjustable rate mortgage like I do, I have a 1-year adjustable rate mortgage. I'm going to adjust down from like 4.25% to 3.25%.
Well, right? Sweet.
And for anybody who has a home equity line of credit, that's sitting at prime plus 1 or prime's going to come down if the Fed lowers rates.
Okay.
And if you're carrying credit card debt, and I know it's hard for people, things have been more expensive. So maybe you've gone back to using that credit card to help you. That 24% rate, may drop to a 22% rate or 21% rate. So those are all
still
good
sucks,
things.
But better.
Yeah.
You mentioned Chair Powell. His term limit, for lack of a better term, is ending.
It is.
At what point? I don't know the timeline of that.
I am not sure of the timeline either.
It is this year, though, correct?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
In the words that I would use is, I'm not really sure.
Okay. Yeah.
But I want to
know your Indianapolis realtor. If you are looking to buy or sell a house in the Indy area, I'm your guy. If you're coming from out of state, want to make a move to the Indy area, I'm your guy. Check out the show notes for a link. We can get in touch and get you started. Thanks for watching. Now back to the show.
I want him
I
gone
know
already.
That guy is not a big fan of Chair Powell, so I'm sure
but you know
he'll
who
be getting
appointed
replaced.
Donald Trump.
I was gonna say, did he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
or he was already there and he didn't remove him. He let his term continue.
All right, gotcha.
But, I think Chair Powell. I think he's done a good job as a Fed chairman, but I do believe he slipped into the politics side of things by lowering the rate right before the election, and then it kicked him in the face with what the market did. Inflation kind of ticked up a little bit. And unemployment didn't decrease like they thought it was going to, and all of a sudden now it looked very political. And then for the last few months where we've seen unemployment continue to go up, job starts have continued to slow down. Inflation has continued to go down, and he keeps saying tariffs. And he's pointing to tariffs are going to increase. Well, wait a minute. The tariffs have already started in a lot of areas, and inflation continues to come down. And also most of the tariff things that have been talked about, we've seen agreements be made. And costs have continued to come down. So now it feels like it's a little more political. And maybe it's because Trump has said, I think he's an idiot, right? He's no good, right? He should be gone. And maybe he's over there going, well, I'm not lowering the rate now.
Suck it.
Right. So
yeah.
I think there's some politics being played there.
I mean, I have no idea how Powell works, what that job entails. It's got to be so hard because you are appointed intending for you not to be a political person.
Right.
And because they want that to be an impartial person. But then the government, whoever's in charge, is all over you to fix things to try and make it all better. It got to be so hard.
But look at where the politics is playing into this right now, right? We have a chairman that has said for the past 3 years, we are data driven. We only make decisions on data. And that data comes from the past. There's no future talk of what that data would be. In fact, he said during the election process, are you taking into account what will happen to the economy if Donald Trump is elected? And he said, no, we are data driven. But now he says, well, we're not going to make any changes because we think this is going to happen. But wait a minute, for the last 6 years, you've been completely data driven. But now you're not. Now you're no longer data driven because the data reflects what you should do. But you're going to say that that might happen, and I'm no longer data driven. That's where the politics, I think, where people are going. I think some politics are playing into this because I thought you were data driven, and the data says, we probably should have another quarter rate drop. But again, as a mortgage guy, and for the real estate market, we don't need a quarter drop in the Fed fund rate. And also what we don't need, and this is a good segue into another thing we wanted to talk about, we don't need interest rates to come down any further than where they are because of what's happening in the Indianapolis market today, right now. And that's the fact that homes are selling very quickly. And I just got a purchase agreement, list price $574. My buyer bought it for $635,000 with a $100,000 appraisal gap. And you want to tell me it's a seller's market?
Wow. All right. Well, we'll transition that way. So national headlines, and I get a fair amount of emails on a regular basis, much of that being national focus, whether it's, from homes.com or realtors from other parts of the country, whatever. And much of it talks about the shift in the market over the last several months into more of a buyer's market. That being that there are more homes on the market and buyers having more of an opportunity potentially to negotiate on price and concessions and inspection repairs, things like that. One of the key data points that goes along with that oftentimes is days on market, because of course, as a home sits on the market longer, the psychological aspect of that is people who want to buy that house now come in thinking, well, it's been sitting here for a while, little to no price changes. Let's offer them less and see if they're willing to take it. How desperate are they to sell the house?
Right.
I get that philosophy, and I think it's logical. But people have the home price for a reason at what it is. We've had that discussion multiple times. Indianapolis, along with some other cities, and I honestly don't know which cities.
It's not Chicago.
I really only care about Indy.
New York.
We are not that way. But it's interesting because in the homes that I've dealt with, a number of them have been on the market for, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months, whatever. I'm seeing a lot more of that, but I'm still seeing homes that are selling within a couple of days. And if you look at the data from June that we just completed, days on market in Indianapolis, actually Indianapolis specifically, I believe was 11.
Wow.
And if you look at all of central Indiana, MIBOR, I believe it was 20. And those could be reversed. Doesn't make any difference.
Sure. Still short.
The national median days on market is 50 to 60.
An average was probably like 90 back in 2018.
Yeah, for real. Now, I wasn't in real estate back then. Those who have been in real estate longer than me said, especially during the pandemic real estate, guys, you have no idea what real estate's really like.
Yeah.
If for a home to sit on the market for 3 to 4 months was totally normal.
Couple price reductions, all of that.
Absolutely. And now here we are coming out of pandemic real estate over the last, I'd say 2 years. The days on market seemingly stretching out, at least out of single digits, thank goodness. But national headlines saying, oh, days on market is 50 or 60, homes are sitting on the market longer. And here in Indy, we're at 11. And you've got people who are offering $100,000 more than they're asking for the house. Indianapolis is on fire market-wise.
Yeah, I seen a statistic, and I'm glad the news said it. This is one day when I went back and I was like, I'm so glad that the news people in some weird vocal fry went, there's more buyers now than sellers. Like, I don't know why they talk like that on the news. Maybe we'd get more viewers if we did it. But they said one day, this was national news. It hit across all of the news from CNN to Fox to ABC. They all said it. It's finally changed. There's more homes on the market than there are buyers.
That was just a couple of weeks ago. I will say that number was 500,000 more nationally sellers than there were buyers.
Okay, so here's what I know. When you list your house, it goes into a system.
Correct.
when you decide you want to buy a house, nobody knows it.
Correct.
Like nobody knows that you called me and just got pre-approved to buy a house. Like
Yep.
this is the most exciting and thankful dumb thing they've ever said, because now I have people going, it's finally a buyer's market.
Yeah, let's
I'm
go.
going to do a list price on this one with 25,000 above list and not ask for any concessions. I'm not going to do an inspection, and hopefully I win. Sounds like a buyer's market to me.
I don't believe that's a buyer's
So
market.
I do believe that has spurred a little bit of the activity. July for me will be the biggest month that I've had in 1 month in 2 years.
That's fantastic.
It's crazy. And today was another day of, 7 or 8 new pre-approvals. Yesterday was the same, 7 or 8 or 9 new people getting pre-approved diving into this market.
I will say I called you several times this week, and either I get your voicemail, which means you're on the phone with somebody, or when you call me back, it's like, dude, it's 6 p.m. Actually, when I left the courthouse yesterday, it was 7 o'clock. You said, I'm still sitting at my desk from 6 this morning.
I did another pre-approval after you and I, did we talk or text?
No, we talked.
Okay, yeah. So we texted first, and then we ended up talking later. And I think my last pre-approval last night was at 9:30.
Man.
And I'm not complaining. Don't take that as a complaint.
No.
It's just saying, look, the market is hot, and I think it's going to continue to stay. I think what it is, personally, I think people have went, all right, I'm done. I've waited and waited. I have one person who had an accepted purchase agreement that I got them pre-approved in February of 2022. I had another person that just accepted their first purchase agreement. I got them approved in May of 2022. Several other of those people were pre-approvals somewhere in the beginning of 23. So these are hanger-oners that have been waiting and waiting and waiting, and they finally figured out there's nothing to wait for.
So another thing that just came out was Indianapolis ranked 4th nationally in new construction. And I know on my side of town, the south side, there are multiple builders just absolutely killing it down there.
Have you drove through McCordsville?
Oh, for sure. Yes, that too.
My gosh.
And so I know with that, builders are offering crazy deals. I know a builder's offering a free basement in certain communities. I'm like, holy shit, that's an incredible deal right there. Interest rate buy downs and appliance packages and whatnot. Now, I think it's great for buyers on the surface. You have opinions otherwise, but I don't know, I guess, what are your thoughts on new construction?
Well, new construction is what drives housing prices, right? So one of my customers that just got an accepted purchase agreement has been trying to build with a builder. And when they sit down with the builder and they put their package together, they ended up in the almost $800,000 price range.
Wow.
And what they decided is, look, I'm tired of doing these designs and being 780 and 810. And what they bought exactly what they wanted that the builder was going to build, but they bought it for $635.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right now, a couple years old, older home, listed for sale. These are all north side. That's a north side deal. So when you look at what the builder's doing, and I think builders are doing a great job at really helping us with the problem that we have with inventory.
Agreed.
But if you're a first-time home buyer and you want to buy a brand new house, they've got some great options to get you in to really help your payment. But if you're one of these second-time home buyers like my customer was, where they've got a house to sell and they're looking at what they want to buy and they want to upgrade to this level, what's happening now is enough of those homes are coming back up on the market. We're starting to see more homes on the market that now you don't have to go dive into an $800,000 new build in the north side of Westfield. You may find that same house for sale in Carmel for $670 or $710, and you didn't pay for that free basement. You didn't pay for that rate buy down. None of those things are free.
They're
The
not.
builder's not going, man, I'm losing my shirt, but I'm giving you a basement. No, they're not. It's all fitting into their 30+% margin. Just go look at where, Lennar and Pulte, and look at where their stock is, right? If they weren't making money, their stocks wouldn't be soaring. But look, I say on the time on the show, it's part of the builder's mafia, But the builders play a big part, and I can jokingly talk about being anti-builder, but today I had a customer referred to me, a veteran relocating into the Atterbury area, right? And they want a 4-bedroom house, and she told me, she's like, "There's nothing. I don't believe Indiana has 4-bedroom houses." And I kind of chuckled a little bit, like, "Well, I got a 4-bedroom house."
I have a 5-bedroom house.
But maybe in that area where they're looking in Trafalgar and that all the way down there, Edinburgh.
Yeah, right.
Okay, well, maybe those 4-bedroom homes that are there aren't for sale.
Right.
Or maybe you're looking, they're all $1 million, but you're looking at a house on Sweetwater or one of the other Princess Lakes, right? Because those are 4- and 5-bedroom homes that are on the lake. Those are expensive.
Correct.
And she said, we just can't find anything. But Arbor Homes is here, and Arbor Homes is building. And I said, look, let's not finish up with your pre-approval. Because look, I can take you through the whole process to get you pre-approved. But look, if you're looking for a 4-bedroom house and you can't find it and Arbor's building it, they build a great home. They have a great mortgage company. They're going to give you advantages that I can't. So why don't you have your realtor take you over there first? Because based on all your information, you're incredibly pre-approvable. But I think you're going to get a better deal and find what you want at that builder in that area versus what I'm going to be able to help you with. And if that house comes up that you like for sale, that's not a new build, I'll get you pre-approved in like 15 minutes.
I got to say this, and I do toot your horn quite a bit. That's great advice, and that's why I like sending people to you, because not only are you going to teach them about the lending world and what they're getting into, but you're going to be honest with them. And as much as you're losing business potentially to the new builds, you also realize that maybe that could be the best thing for them, and you're there if it's not. So great job.
I love working with my veterans. I truly believe not just the veteran, but the family have to do so much
for sure
to do this. And she told me, we've only lived here for this many years, and we came from here, and I love where we're at, but now the Army's got a different idea for us, and here we go. And so I don't want to be the person that's all focused on me getting the loan. I've said this for many years. I don't need them all. I just need enough.
Yeah.
And I figure that if I do right by the customer and I'm giving them good advice that maybe doesn't help me build my business, it helps me build my business.
It does.
Everything comes around. So
awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else we need to hit today?
Yeah, there's a thing that's coming up that's going to change people's credit scores as well, that makes these little snap decisions maybe make it to where you can't buy a house.
This is important.
Yeah, have you ever done DoorDash? You wanted to get your $7 pizza, but you spent $54 to have it delivered to your house?
I have not, because I know that bullshittery of $54 for the pizza, but go on.
I have. Maybe...
My neighbors do.
Maybe we were hungry and we partook in a little too much tequila.
Sure.
And then it would have been a $10,000 pizza run.
Maybe a few nights in the clink. Anyways, go on.
So yeah, we make that decision to make that order that, right? And I can afford to make that stupid decision. But when you can't, there's people that are pushing that button that wants to break that into 4 payments.
It's not just DoorDash.
It's everything.
This is Amazon Prime Week. I've seen that on Amazon, for a $10 item. Break it into 4 payments. What?
And how hard is it to get out of that? Like I've had to cancel my whole order to figure out how to order it to not get stuck in that 4 payment affirm or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
My lovely wife just came in the door. I just wanted to give him something to edit. So when you're going to make that decision to choose to break that into 4 payments, starting, I believe, in November, that's now going to affect your credit.
Oh.
And those snap decisions are going to show as new credit lines on your credit, and new credit lines like that, even though the debt to income ratio is not going to be impacted because it's less than the required payment amount, it could really reduce your credit score and show that you're using credit too much.
Wow. So if it wasn't dumb enough to DoorDash $54 pizza, now you're making it even worse if you're choosing to do it in payments.
And that's not just DoorDash, really.
Yeah,
it's more,
of course.
I see it more in the Amazon or the things that you order
things
online.
You buy in the TikTok shop, like Amazon and You're absolutely right. It's just they make it seem so easy. Oh,
Yeah, it's going to be 4 payments, and it's easy, right? But now, and it's never affected your credit before, but now that'll affect your credit. So
in a way, I'm glad it does. Hopefully, it makes people smarter, to think better of it. Because it's stupid.
I mean, even when it's 0 interest, right? Somebody's
You're
paying
financing
0,
a
you're
fucking
financing
hamburger.
a hamburger, or maybe tennis shoes, right? Like, if you can't buy it, don't buy it.
Seriously.
And it's such a hard thing. You know, I make
Dave
fun of,
Ramsey just resubscribed.
I make fun of Dave, right? But I don't really mean to, because the core of what he's teaching, you know, I use credit cards, I use points programs. I don't think my wife and I have paid for this is awesome. And I think it's really important. Not only do we only fly first class, but we haven't paid for our first class tickets out of our pocket because we've used points that have been given to us by our credit card company for like 3 years.
That's awesome.
So when you sit back and you look at it, okay, the credit card companies don't just make money off of interest people pay. In fact, they do make a lot of money off of the interest because people pay such high interest rates. But every time you buy something with your credit card, the retailer that you're buying that at is paying that credit card fee.
Correct.
And you don't get the product any cheaper when you pay cash, except for at gas stations at some states.
Yeah.
They'll show cash or credit, right? So when you go there to get gas, don't use your card. Pay cash. It's a lower amount. But if you can pay your card and you have the personal willpower to pay your card discipline, then those points can really pay you money. And that's where I believe Dave Ramsey doesn't tell people to do that. He tells people not to. But I think when he's filling up his Maserati with gas, because he drives a Maserati, because I have a friend that used to be his neighbor, I believe he uses his Chase Sapphire card to get those points, and then he doesn't pay for first class tickets when he flies some.
Maybe. So, you know,
I don't know.
We have gone the Dave Ramsey journey. We've done our debt-free scream live on the Dave Ramsey show. And I will absolutely thank Dave Ramsey's system and credit that system
100%.
with helping us to get out of debt and eventually pay off our house. And I love it. Since we've done that, we've gone back into the credit card land. And I will consistently say Dave is great for those who are struggling in deep debt, have no idea how to get out of it, and they need a plan. And his plan, if you follow it, makes you disciplined into a system to help you stop doing the stupid.
And you can be debt free.
Absolutely. We realized we know how to control our money. We know how to control our spending. And so realizing the benefits, and we actually kind of jumped back into credit card land when my parents moved to Florida. We're like, well, if we're going to go see my parents, we're probably going to fly Southwest Airlines. Let's get a credit card that gets us Southwest Airlines points. Right. And we've used that multiple times to fly back and forth to Florida or Vegas to see Alex. And it has benefited us. We understand the consequences of not paying that off.
It's 24%.
And we do what we can to make sure that that doesn't happen on a monthly basis. But we haven't gotten ourselves in trouble because we're disciplined about it now. And that, I think, a lot I will attribute to the Dave Ramsey system and what was taught. And I will say, if you have an issue with debt and you want a way out, Dave's is a good way to go, and stop using the credit cards is a good way to do it. And so here we are. People are making payments on burgers on DoorDash because they don't know any better. And now you know, in November, that could come back to haunt you.
I believe it's November. There's a time frame, but you don't want splitting out the payments of some tennis shoes or something like that you could have paid for to stop you from being able to qualify for a house. It's just something to think about.
There you go. Well, on that note, Brad, let's wrap it up.
Man, we didn't do a shot.
That's okay. We don't always have to do a shot. I feel like
we've probably did shots already today.
We have. Thank you for watching Indiana Success Happy Hour Real Estate Edition. We'll see you next time. Cheers.
Cheers.
It's Brian and Brad. Grab your seat. Real talk served with a boozy beat. Tune in, don't even blink, 'cause real estate makes us drink.